America, my home, sweet home.
Today, we get a chance to say hello to and thank a very unique group of students. A group that may have put college on hold. Perhaps they put entering the workforce on hold. And now, they are going to serve our great nation. All of us may not understand this commitment, or maybe we understand all too well. In a world at times that appears to be in turmoil, it is our military that is called upon all too often to bring stability. The recent attacks in Manchester, attacks across Europe, and here at home continue to emphasize the need for a strong and prepared military. If we're to eradicate this evil, we will try to undermine our security and our way of life. We will certainly need the services of bright, talented, and brave people sitting before you. We will need strong soldiers, and we will need good diplomats. So for these individuals today, what was their motivation? I'm sure it varies. Family members, teachers, counselors may have suggested service. Perhaps it just represented a chance for self-betterment and a chance to serve. The 24-hour news cycle constantly reminds us that we face challenges from enemies that often live in the shadows and attack our most vulnerable. Service and a commitment to excellence are more important now than they ever have been. After witnessing part of this recruiting process over several years here at Neshaminy, I know this decision was not made lightly or without the support of parents and family and friends and teachers, and the list goes on. Over these past 8 years, here at Neshaminy, dozens of educators, administrators, teachers, counselors, and coaches have attended an educator's workshop in Paris Island. It's safe to say that when we all return from that experience, we have a much deeper appreciation in what will be lying in the weeks, months, and years ahead for these individuals. This ceremony is our way, our school's way, our community's way of saying thank you. You are about to embark on a journey filled with hard work, filled with sacrifice, teamwork, and the concept of working towards a greater good. You will play a key role in keeping our great nation safe. This is an awesome responsibility, and it is my hope, my prayer, that your time here at Neshaminy has played an important part in helping preparing you for the challenges that lie ahead. In closing, let me be the first to say congratulations. Let me also say thank you, God bless you, and may God guide you.
We've gathered here this afternoon, as we all know, to acknowledge this extraordinary group of young men and young women who are committing themselves to serving our country in the United States Armed Forces. I'd also like to take the opportunity, though, to acknowledge our current service members who are around the room. And at this time also, if there are any veterans, if you could stand and be recognized at this time. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to address you today on behalf of Congressman Fitzpatrick and also as a loyal and proud Neshaminy graduate myself. As the congressman is Washington, D.C., he asked me to be here on his behalf. And while I did not serve in the armed forces, my father did as a proud member of the 101st Airborne in Vietnam. And he served the United States honorably at a time when it might have been especially difficult and dangerous to do so. And he left the safety of his home and his community to defend our shared ideals of freedom, and democracy, and peace from aggression and tyranny. And that's the same thing that you've all decided to do at this table in the months and years ahead as you've committed to this career. And like you, and like all soldiers, I think it's a confidence that he had in doing something that he thought was worthwhile. And it made the world a better place to live, and something that contributed to those freedoms that we have, and sometimes those freedoms that are taken for granted. And I know your decision to take this oath today was not taken lightly, nor was it taken without considerable discussion with your friends, your family, and perhaps some of your teachers, as Mr. Maggs alluded to. And I know that you'll quickly come to realize that those who serve and those who have served share a very special bond, that you're going to be part of a new family in that sense. You'll be tested in ways you never imagined, and you'll learn to never give up and know that you're always backed by that family. And when you put that uniform on, you'll come to realize that you have joined something greater than yourselves, with a mission and an ethic that will embrace you, give you purpose and direction, and also the strength to keep going. And in wearing that uniform, you will learn that you no longer represent only yourself, but also those who served before you, including those who have fallen in defense of the freedoms that we all do share. So it is my sincere hope that at the end of your service, whether it's for 4 years or 30 years, that you return home and become leaders in your communities and in your country. And with that, I'll just say, please do your best and live the values of the armed forces for this country and for all of us. Look out for one another and come home safely and come home with honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. And now we'd like to bring up an individual who is no stranger to Neshaminy High School, our state representative, Mr. Frank Ferry.
Thank you. I'd also like to recognize one of my colleagues, State Representative Tina Davis, who represents portions of the Neshaminy School District, is here as well. When I actually graduated from Neshaminy 27 years ago, I was 27, does not feel that way, I can tell you the world was a much different place. Not long after the class of 90 graduated, we ended up in the Persian Gulf War. And it just seems since that pathway, there's been quite a bit of turmoil in the world. To the 12 young men and women that are here today, I really commend you on making this choice, especially with where we consider where the world is today. I could tell you a quick story about somebody who just recently had a great success, and it's a young man named Joe Keefe, who literally lives about 6 blocks down Old Lincoln Highway here. And I believe Joe was an Neshaminy alum, but he joined the Coast Guard a few years ago, and he decided he wanted to become a rescue diver. So as we know, there are those crazy people that jump out of the helicopters into the swirling water to rescue stranded boaters and the like. During Joe's first run at the academy he had to go through, because of how challenging it is, he ended up becoming pretty beat up and had to withdraw. I'm proud to say that a few weeks ago, Joe graduated #1 in his class from the Coast Guard Rescue Diver Academy. And during the Memorial Day Parade in Langhorne this coming Monday, we have Joe in the parade with us, so we can actually commend him and recognize that. But you yourselves may face some of these similar challenges. And just like Joe, he had to wait to heal up a little bit to get back up on the proverbial horse, if you will. But he faced that challenge again, and not only did he succeed this time, he actually graduated #1 in his class, and I think that's pretty commendable. So I issue that same challenge to you, and since you've already made this as a life choice, obviously you don't truly need it issued to you, but I wish you the best of luck and much success. Watch your backs out there, and I can tell you on behalf of a grateful community, we look forward to welcoming you back home safely. So Godspeed and best of wishes.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to meet some of the individuals that are sitting before you. If you don't know all of them already, I'm going to invite the members of the service who did the recruiting to come up here with me. If I can start with, from the United States Air Force, Staff Sergeant Hung, to come forward, please. Young man committing to the United States Air Force, Mr. Ryan Kane. Please come on over, Ryan. and hear from the United States Marine Corps, Staff Sergeant Cuck, who will be welcoming Mr. Dylan Applegate. Dylan Applegate. And also entering the United States Marine Corps, Mr. Tyler Harvey. Also joining the United States Marine Corps, Mr. Brendan Rios. Next from the United States Navy, Staff Sergeant Paul McBean. And I'm sorry, I'm short one name here. Entering the United States Navy, Mr. Gage Haberacker Mallet. Also entering the United States Navy, Mr. Anthony Verrecchio. And we have several individuals joining the United States Army. Staff Sergeant Randy Hoy is here to join us.
Sergeant, that's okay. I'm covered down for it. So.
And we have a substitute. Excellent. Mr. Michael Bremser joining the United States Army. Ms. Haley Canuck. Mr. Nicholas Ruggiero. Mr. Jeremy Schuster. Miss Macy Smith. And finally, Mr. Michael Trujillo.
All day is doing myself. I barely hit myself.
Hey, picture.
Michael.
It's okay. It's okay.
To close us out, our school principal, Dr. Rob McGay.
Thank you, Mr. Maggs. In closing, I'd like to start also by thanking some of those with us. Representatives Davis and Farry, representative from Senator Tomlinson's office, representative from Mr. Brian Fitzpatrick's office. The support they give Neshaminy High School and the students of Neshaminy High School is just amazing. Also, our military recruiters, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You're here frequently. Some of you are here daily. Thank you so much for what you do for the students, staff, and Neshaminy High School at large. And thank you, Mr. Maggs and Mrs. Murray, for making this ceremony possible. But I think more importantly, I'd like to thank the seniors and their parents who are being honored here today. I don't think you quite understand it yet, seniors, but you're about to do something very significant. If I can put it into perspective, a year from now, most graduates of Neshaminy High School will be considered college kids, and they will be treated as such. On the other hand, each of you, a year from now, will be considered men and women of the United States Armed Forces. You'll be part of a long history of representing our country and protecting our liberties and freedoms around the world. I am once again reminded of a proverb that has become both Marine Staff Sergeant Cook's favorite proverb as well, and Representative Ferry's favorite proverb. A community grows great when people plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit. Let me read that again. A community grows great when people plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit. Seniors, you're not only growing a community, you're growing a nation. The shade of those trees you plant over the next several years will benefit millions of Americans for many years and many centuries to come. From all of us, thank you, God bless you, your families, remain safe, and God bless America.